The brand new event for World of Tanks console is here, and it features a community event that is going to be a very cool one to actually have a look at, as well as a brand new vehicle and some other extra news that we have sprinkled in from Wargaming themselves. And so let's have a look at what this community event is all about. So straight off the bat, this event is essentially a kind of three-parter, whereby at the end of the event you'll be able to pick up the HMH Huntsman Centurion medium vehicle, which I was a little bit disappointed to see that this was the tank that you get at the end of it, because of the fact that this tank has been available in season passes or community events that we've had before, whether that be an earn operation, etc. So unfortunately we'll get the same vehicle that we've already had, which I can understand from Wargaming wanting to give this vehicle to everyone and have everyone have an opportunity to get the tank. But of course, a lot of people will already have this vehicle, and it is, at the end of the day, a pretty ununique vehicle, being a Centurion at tier 8, which there are tons of already, including the Centurion 1, which is the tech tree. We have the Centurion Mark 5/1, which is the RAAC premium vehicle. We have the Huntsman Centurion. We have it's the Bellerophon, which is a Centurion with spaced armor. We also have then essentially another version of the Huntsman. I completely forget what it's called, but it is literally the exact same tank, just a slightly different skin. And so yeah, essentially we've got like 5, maybe even 6 Centurions at this tier. So yeah, having another one back is that we've already had is a bit of a disappointing thing, but we can't really complain about a tank. Of course, if you already own this vehicle, you will get 4 million silver instead of getting this tank again, which of course is going to be nice for people who want a bit of silver to spend on upgrading vehicles or buying tanks. And of course, you can always sell your vehicle, the Huntsman Centurion, or trade it in if you can before the end of the event, so that when you then get it again, you'll get this vehicle back. So you can pick a discount on a vehicle or essentially trade it in for some gold, which you put towards another vehicle, and then get this vehicle back. Of course, you won't then get the silver, but at least you'll have got a discount in terms of the gold value of another vehicle, so it may be worth it to do if there's a trade-in event before the end of this event. Otherwise, you can't really do a lot, and you'd essentially just be best off just keeping the vehicle until you complete this one for the extra 4 million silver. But of course, how do we actually complete this event? Well, essentially what you have to do is get a variety of points, and points are what we typically have in the game for almost every single kind of earn operation community event. But the way in which you get the points is dependent on certain conditions that you have to meet. You can get multiple points per battle, and so you can see the first event, part 1, is adapt, and the adapt point earns come from either dealing 2,500 total in a battle from the following: so damage dealt, assistance, damage block, or base capture points. Obviously you're never going to be able to get 2,500 base capture points in the game because you can only get 100, and so yeah, don't go capping the base. It's a weird one that they've even put this in here. I don't quite know why they would do that, and it's going to kind of get people to try and cap the bases, which we already know people don't tend to like it when the enemy team or their team decide to cap within early times in the battle. And having that as part of an operation, not particularly my favourite one. It would have been better if you could, have base reset points or, offense points, etc., whereby you deal damage to people who are trying to cap your base. This would probably be better, and so you could like double up the damage that you're getting. But either way, Wargaming putting in the base capture points in there. But either way, 2,500, that is the combined total of any of these things that you do in the game. So, you could get 1,250 damage alongside 1,250 assistance, and you'll be able to complete this operation. It should be fairly easy. I don't think it will be too difficult for the majority of people to do every other battle. I think as a kind of a standard thing, I think every other battle you should be able to get 1 point. regardless of if you're an experienced player or a new player. If you're an experienced player, you probably are getting this every single battle, and someone who's played the game for a long time and you understand how the game works, and you've got a lot of experience in the game, you should be able to do 2,500 damage in a battle. If you want to be able to do this easier, obviously playing higher tier vehicles is the way to go. It is available to all tiers, so you could play tier 3, but it's going to be considerably harder to deal to get 2,500 total from the combined things below. Then of course you've got the Dune Desert, which is playing a battle on any desert map. That will give you an additional point, so things like Sand River, El Alamein, all of these sorts of maps, they'll give you an extra point just for playing on them, so it's a bit of a luck of the draw. And then we've got Dune Points, so this is earned 25,000 silver in any number of battles, and that will give you an additional 1 point. So playing premium vehicles is going to be brilliant for being able to complete this operation. Now I have no idea if, for example, you get 100,000 silver, whether you're going to get 4 points for doing it, or whether you'll only get 1 point per battle, so it's capped at 1 point per battle. Otherwise, if you're playing Cold War, you could probably get 10 points just from one game, almost every single game. So I doubt that that's how they'll do it, but you never really know. But of course, the first part, Adapt, you have to basically essentially get a variety of conditions done to unlock the rewards. This is a global event. It's available for everyone. You don't get individual rewards other than when the community get the reward total. So you need to get 1,000 total points with the community. So, you could essentially only get 10 points in the total and someone else could get 5,000. You'll both get the enhanced smokescreen, 5 consumables worth. And so, yeah, you'll essentially just have to complete this operation with the community, and eventually over time it will get done. And then we have things like earning 3.5 million total points will give you 4 times Commander XP boosters. You'll get 5 of those. Then the next one is the inscription. You'll get 5 of those with the Desert Takes the Week. So you'll be able to get that. And that's 7,000 total, or 7 million total points even. And then the next one is part 4 of the Adapt bit, which gives you a Celebration War Chest, which has the possibility of getting a premium vehicle out of it, but you need 11,000 total points, so this is cumulative, so it's the total points required to be able to unlock it. And then you've got the 5th part of the Adapt part of the Dune kind of event, which will give you Gurney Halleck, the 2D standard commander, yeah, that would be nice. Earn 17.5 million total points with the community. So usually the way in which Wargaming do this is that they make it so that we will be able to complete it, and then it's just a case of how long we'll be able to how long it will take to complete the event. Now, if Wargaming realise that it's way too long and we're never going to get there, then I expect that they'll probably reduce it. And I believe they did have that sort of thing back in the day on one of these events. But for the most part, they've probably got it locked in now, where they kind of calculate how many games they're expecting versus how many expected points people are going to be getting and how long that will take. And then they give us like a deadline to be able to get there that usually gives us, multiple days in advance that we'll be able to finish this operation. And then in comes part 2, which is Rise. So Adapt, then it goes Rise. So Rise starts again with a 5-parter, and essentially Rise will be the similar sort of thing. You use the same kind of point system. This one indeed has different requirements. So the first one is Rise Point, which damage 2 or more undamaged enemy vehicles. So that's actually relatively difficult because, of course, undamaged enemies, they're going to be people that you first see in the battle. And so if you're playing a heavy tank, it's going to be a lot harder to get 2 of those in each of your games, so it's unlikely you're going to be able to consistently deal 2 damaging shots to someone who's not been hit at all throughout the games. Even if you're the best player in the game, it's just a case of luck. So yeah, +1 point is what you're going to get. And then you've got Dune Desert, which is the same, so just playing on any desert map will give you an additional point, and then the same one for the silver as well, whereby you'll just get 1 point for 25,000 silver in any number of battles earned. Then, of course, the actual rewards, this one looks pretty good. You're getting 5 enhanced rations for getting 1 million total points and 100,000 silver as a reward as well. Then you've got number 2, which gives you 5 times 6 Commander XP boosters, and that's 3.5 million points. Then you've got some camouflage. So this is a really cool thing. I like what they're doing here. They're giving you some specific camouflage. It is the sandworm camo, and this should be pretty cool. I'm wondering if they've actually got a picture of this so I can show it to you guys before it comes into the game. And this comes as the 7 million total points. So it's always nice to have cosmetic stuff. I think Wargaming could do a lot more of this, and it should be really cool to see. And then the next one is Rise 4. This is 11 million total points, and you get a celebration war chest, so 1 of those, and 3 premium days as well, which is good. Nice to have some additional premium days for people who maybe haven't got like 3 years worth like I have, which is just weird, coming from gifts and stuff like that some of you guys have actually sent me. I just end up with crazy amounts of premium time, so thank you guys for being able to do that. And then, of course, Rise 5, which comes with 17.5 million total points, and you get the Fremen Soldier 2D Standard Commander, which you can see here. And so that's just another commander, and of course an exclusive commander that I expect you'll only be able to get from this event, and also in kind of maybe bundles that you could buy later on down the line if Wargaming then kind of redo their deal with, of course, the producers of Dune or the rights holders of Dune to be able to sell them again, because usually with these exclusive events you can only purchase said vehicles during a period of time, because essentially Wargaming only get the rights for that period of time to sell said vehicles. They can be in the game for an extended period of time, basically until the game ends, whenever that might be, but probably not anytime soon. So yeah, essentially you'll have these until the end, and yeah, it might not be able to come back. Maybe they never get the rights back to be able to sell them again, so they do become kind of rare vehicles and rare commanders, etc. So probably don't want to sell any of the exclusive event commanders if you're interested in having the rareness or rarity kind of value of having some of these things. And then, of course, once that's done, that's another 17.5. So overall, 35 million total points to get to part 2, and then completing part 2. And then that comes to part 3, which is Revolt. And Revolt, it starts off with, yet again, the same sort of point reward system, with just the first point reward being slightly different. The other 2 are the desert map and the points for earning silver. And this one comes with deal 750 or more damage to vehicles that are 1 tier higher than you. So this is going to completely write off playing tier 10, which isn't a bad thing, considering that you're going to see a lot of tier 10 spam during the early event. So during these later stages, we're going to see a lot more tier 9s, tier 8s, stuff like that coming into the game. And essentially it's just lower tiers being able to deal 750 damage to higher tier vehicles, which is fine. Of course, when you're top tier, you're not going to be able to do that. So hopefully, as far as the point rewards, we're going to be fine on that one. And then, of course, you get things like Dune Revolt, which is the rewards. So what do you get for actually doing this? Well, we mentioned earlier that you're going to get the Huntsman Centurion at the end of it. But at the start, you'll get 5 enhanced fire suppressors. Now, this is often a kind of noob trap, I would say, where people use fire extinguisher. I would never ever recommend ever using fire extinguisher in your vehicles. It is, although it might be annoying when you get set on fire and you can't put it out, overall it's very limited how many times that actually happens. And so you'll be better off taking the overall boost of using a premium enhanced rations rather than the premium fire suppressor. So make sure that you don't bother using these, to be honest with you, unless you want to save some credits for 5 games. But I wouldn't recommend keeping on using these after you use them up. So that's just my opinion. Alongside that, you'll get 200,000 silver. Then the next one, so second part of the third part, a bit of a weird one there, but anyway, the second part of Revolt, you'll get 8 times Commander XP boosts, which will be 5 of those in this, and that's earning 3.5 million total points. Next one is Revolt 3, where you get a Celebration War Chest again, and the Harkonnen emblem as well, which you can put on your vehicles. And then at number 4, you get 11 million total points. We'll give everyone the Sardaukar Warrior 2D Standard Commander, which you can always put on to your vehicle as the commander. Of course, it doesn't get any additional bonuses as the 2D Standard Commander, but it is an exclusive commander to the Dune event. So once again, it might become rare later on down the line. So if you're interested in rarity and having rare things, then you'll probably want to keep hold of it rather than selling your commander. Then, of course, the final part, 17.5 million total points, giving you the Huntsman Centurion medium tank, which is brilliant. And then, of course, the Dune medal as well. Now, as you may have spotted, there is a 15% stacking discount on the Wind of Arrakis. Now, the Wind of Arrakis is essentially a premium vehicle that we'll take a look at in a second, and you can get a 45% total discount on this vehicle if the community can complete all 3 parts, which is good. So with that being said, of course, in order to get all of these rewards, you need 52.5 million points as the community in total, which I think is probably going to happen. And it's just a case of when rather than if we'll be able to complete all of these. But yes, at the end of it, a free premium Huntsman Centurion medium vehicle, which is actually a really good vehicle, but it's maybe a little bit subjective as to whether you like playing medium tanks, whether you're going to find this little pea shooter actually worth getting. But either way, that is the kind of event for the Dune event. Lots of free stuff in here, some cool camos as well that we'll be able to put on our vehicles. But other than that, we have, of course, the new premium vehicle, the Wind of Arrakis, which is essentially a tier 8 vehicle, I believe, which has a siege mode mechanic. This is the German tier 8. You may have already seen this vehicle on PC. It is a vehicle that is very space looking like and essentially looks very much like this. Now, the armor model is significantly bad. It does not really have a whole lot of armor. It is a medium tank, to be honest with you, and a medium German tank, which means basically no armor. Unless you're the E50M. But the Wind of Arrakis is a damage-focused support tank that uses automatic siege mode. So if you've played the UDES 1516 or any of the Swedish vehicles, then you're going to be able to know what this siege mode is like. Essentially, when you slow down enough, it will turn into the kind of siege mode. And then when you're moving more, it will turn back into the kind of movement mode. And then you don't get all of the bonuses of being in the siege mode. And so if you're below 15 kilometers an hour, you will be able to have the automatic switch to the siege mode, which enhances its already reliable gun, is what Wargaming say. Keep a safe distance from the front line and deploy it from the high ground or in a hold down position to use it the best. And then, of course, you can see what the bonuses and the statistics of this vehicle actually are. So, as a tier 8 medium tank, you have 1300 hit points, you've got the 50% silver bonus, and 1300 hit points isn't too bad for a vehicle. You've got a power to weight ratio of 20, which is actually pretty decent for a medium tank. Have a top speed of 55 kilometers an hour, which is relatively good as well. So it should be able to maintain speed over all of the types of terrain. You've got a 20 kilometers an hour reverse speed, which is actually pretty decent as well. And then you've got the auto siege speed limit activation / deactivation at 15 kilometers an hour. The hull traverse and turret traverse are fine. You're not going to have any problems with those. You have gun depression that is dependent on the siege mode. So if you're going below 15 kilometers an hour, you'll get 9 degrees of gun depression. If you're going above 15 kilometers an hour, you'll only get 5 degrees. So essentially, when you slow down enough, you'll get more gun depression. So that's kind of how it works. And then gun elevation, if you're using the drive mechanic, so when you're going above 15, you'll get 20 degrees. And when you're in the siege mode, you'll get 24 degrees. So that's absolutely fine. It's kind of bog standard anyway, at 20 degrees regardless. The penetration is really good for a tier 8 medium. You've got 230 as your standard pen, but you've got 400 damage. So 400 damage as a tier 8 medium, that is very, very nice. That is really, really good. And then when you load the premium rounds, you get a 300 pen with 400 damage. 300 pen is essentially the same as a lot of the medium tanks at tier 9 when they're using their premium rounds, and even then it might even be higher than a lot of the medium tanks at tier 9 with premium pen. You've got 60 pen on your HE rounds with 515 damage as well, which is nice to have as an additional extra. Your aim time is 2 seconds, accuracy of 0.33. You have a rate of fire of 4 rounds a minute, which means that this vehicle is exceptionally poor in its DPM. You literally have tier 6 vehicles having more damage per minute than this one. The base damage per minute of this tier 8 medium tank is 1600, meaning that a lot of the heavy tanks at this tier are going to be able to output rounds faster than you and probably have the same alpha. So that makes this tank almost unusable as a damage dealer, which is what Wargaming have stated that this tank is. A damage per minute of 1600 puts this below a lot of the heavy tanks, literally below some of the tier 7 heavy tanks, which have almost double the damage per minute of this vehicle when they're using all of the perks. Now, of course, it's going to be about 1.5 times better at tier 7 as a heavy tank than this one. So you've got things like the Tiger that are going to be able to have like 3000 damage per minute. And this one, even with all of the perks and bonuses you're going to get on it, you're probably still not even looking at 2000 damage per minute. Or if you are, it's the very low 2000 damage per minute mark. So it is going to be painful. It is not going to be fun, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be a bit of a nightmare to try and use properly. Now, the armor of this tank, like we said, the hull armor is garbage by the looks of it. It's not looking like it's going to be able to do very much, and you're not going to be able to actually have a whole lot to kind of contend with when it comes to trying to pen this vehicle from the front with regards to its hull armor. The turret armor looks relatively strong on the mantlet, but it is very flat, which makes me think that this tank is going to get penned quite easily in that turret. Now, it's quite well angled on the side, as you can see here, probably going to lead to the fact that a lot of people are going to miss. However, what you'll see on the top of this tank is there's this big green patch, which may be able to be penned from the front. So you might be able to shoot the top of this vehicle right here to be able to pen it, which is not a good sign. And then, of course, it doesn't look like it has any cupolas. These bulbous bits over here, which you can see in the live model, I don't believe that these are armor parts, so you're probably not going to be able to hit those. That kind of rear bit here, this is not also armor either by the looks of things. And so I think that this tank's armor is going to be okay from the turret. But of course you can be hit on this area here, which I expect will probably pen, and then with high premium ammunition pen, hitting the mantlet and either side of the mantlet is probably going to pen as well at the same tier. So just be aware of that. We'll do the full review and I'll let you know exactly whether this is a weak point and whether there was any significance with the top of this turret. And then we can kind of move on from there. There'll be a full tank review of this vehicle coming out this week as soon as it's released, and it comes out on Tuesday to be able to purchase, but you won't get the big discount from the community event completion, so maybe hold off to actually purchase this tank until afterwards. The view range is 390 meters, signal range is 750, which is okay, and then yeah, you have 40 rounds, so you're going to have a lot of damage potential, but the damage per minute is so bad that I think that this is going to really ruin this vehicle from being anywhere like a top level medium vehicle at this tier. So just be aware, the high alpha damage will be fun, but this tank is probably not going to be fun for the most part. So just be aware of that. This tank is going to be an interesting one, and I like what they've done with it. But yeah, I don't know how well it's actually going to play. And so yeah, either way, that is the thing. We don't have the actual price of the tank, so I would expect, considering that this is an event vehicle, a lot of the event vehicles are, how should we say, very expensive, and usually sat at around like 15,000 to 16,000 for the base version of the tank. Now, often they'll throw in a load of bundles, which are with this tank, but with a load of extra like stuff like the commanders and stuff like that, hero commanders, that sort of thing that you get alongside the Dune kind of event game mode that we've got, of event that like we're actually going to be undertaking. So there'll be separate ones which are actually here, and we can look at these in a bit more detail in a second. But essentially, yeah, this tank is going to be very expensive, and even with a 45% discount, I would expect that it is still very expensive. So yeah, just bear that in mind when you're thinking about purchasing this tank, and make sure that you do check out some of the community contributors who are going to be doing videos on this, as I'm sure pretty much everyone who is a CC or a CA is going to be doing a video on this vehicle and testing out whether it's good. So go ahead and have a look at some of theirs, as well as maybe mine if you're interested to see how it actually plays. But yeah, I don't know if it is going to be expensive. I would just, given some of the other ones that we've had previously, that it would be quite expensive. So either way, then we have the Dune Commanders and Bundles right here. So this is 30% off as you prepare for battle with limited time Dune content. The commanders that we have is the Fremen Soldier, the Gurney Halleck, Beast Rabban, Harkonnen Soldier, and Sardoka Warrior. Now, I am definitely butchering that one, but it's been a while since I watched the first Dune. I'm probably going to be going and watching it very soon. But either way, the standard commanders start with 1 open skill slot and earn commander XP at the standard rate. The Beast Rabban 3D hero commander starts with 3 open skill slots and has a 30% commander XP bonus. So this is this one here that you'll be able to get. And so, yeah, essentially you've got this guy, he's going to be a hero. The rest of them kind of all standard commanders with the similar XP rate as your standard commanders that you can get in the game just by recruiting one. But either way, this is what they look like as kind of the I guess, 3D variant that you're going to be able to get. It looks kind of cool. I think it's a nice one. And of course, these are all of the emblems that you can get alongside the camo as well that is available in the game. And then you've also got a sandworm garage gear that you'll be able to put in the game. This is what it looks like. Pretty cool. I like that they do this garage gear stuff that goes alongside events. I think it's a nice kind of additional extra if you want to spend a bit of money and purchase some of these. But it will be available through the store through to the April 1st. So if you want to get it, you can get it in the kind of garage gear store. And then how much are all of these sorts of stuff actually going to cost? So, it's probably going to be quite expensive. So the Dune Part 2 Mega is 15,900 gold, which is actually a lot cheaper than I thought it would be. So maybe scratch how much that the Wind of Arrakis is actually going to cost, because that's 10,300. So it's actually fairly expensive for a medium tank, but it hasn't got that exclusive gold value that a lot of the other events that we've had in the past have had. So I actually think that's a fairly reasonable price. And when you take 45% off of that, you're probably looking at about, I want to say, like 6,700 gold or something like that to be able to purchase this vehicle. Slightly less maybe, but yeah, really not that bad for this tank. And so yeah, if you've got the gold and you want to get a event tank that you'll never be able to get again, or at least a very limited tank event, and you only be able to purchase it now, maybe it will never come back, maybe it will come back if they get the rights again to sell the tank. But of course that's, it's up in the air. It may never come back. So this might be your only opportunity, but I would wait until you get the 45% savings on this vehicle. Of course, the Dune Part 2 Mega, so this comes with everything for the Dune event. Maybe it doesn't come with the garage gear, I would assume. It doesn't come with the kind of sandworm in here. Yep, so it doesn't by the looks of things. So you get all of the emblems, all of the commanders, all of the inscriptions, all of the camo for winter, summer, desert, urban, but you only get one of each. And that's 15,900 gold. So remember that the Wind of Arrakis will be at 45% discount. So take off, 6,000 and you're essentially playing, or 7,000 for conservative. And then you're looking at about 9,000 gold for all of the rest of the stuff bar the tank. So if you can value that at nearly 10,000 gold or about £30, then it's up to you. But remember, a lot of these are one-time use, so the emblems and of course the inscriptions, so make of that what you will. From memory, I believe they are one-time uses. Of course, that's why you get the one value. Of course, check that out in the game first, but I'm pretty sure that is how it works. Dune Part 2 Commander Pack. Here we have all of the commanders. You can get those for 9,000 gold, which I think is quite steep for commanders, although I think commanders in the game are very expensive in general, whether they're the event ones or not. And then you can get the 2D standard commanders for 5,000 gold. So yeah, just down to whether you want that. Cosmetics, 1,000 gold for all of those. The Sam1 camo set, 850 gold for all of those. And then of course you can get various different kind of ones of each. And you can purchase the Beast Raban 3D Hero Commander as its own one for 4,000 gold. And the Emperor's Blade Sudoka Warrior 2D Standard Commander for 1,250 gold. And the Samworm Garage Gear will be 1,250 gold. So yeah, it's down to you whether you want to purchase any of it. But yeah, probably the best bet is to maybe go for the Mega Bundle if you want to just get it right now. But probably value for money wise, I would just wait and purchase the Wind of Arrakis and then purchase the parts that you actually like and want from, of course, the Dune exclusive event. So yeah, be sure to have a look, weigh it up in your own options, but just be mindful that this will be at 45% discount when the community event ends. Just depends whether you're willing to spend the extra money to be able to play it right now, or at least at the beginning of the event. So with that all being said, that is kind of what we've got for the Dune event. However, there is a couple of bits in addition to that. And there will be International Women's Day, which comes out with the Fighting Girlfriend T-34 with Maria Oktyabrskaya. I have absolutely butchered that, and I apologize if there are anyone that I don't even know if this is Soviet, but either way, I have probably butchered it, but I apologise. Either way, you can get this vehicle, and there will be two bundles. There'll be the Girl Power one with the Phantom of Fallon and Vasquez commanders, and then Ladies in Charge, Iris Amir, Lara Laspand Levy, and Leah Jaeger. To be able to get as well. And then Tank of the Month is the Kampfpanzer 07RH, which I will be getting as the one that you can actually get from the store, or your Xbox or your PS4 store. I'll be getting this one because this is one I've always wanted, and I really enjoyed playing it back in the day, so it will definitely be one to actually get. And then yeah, that is literally everything that you need to know before the event goes live. Hopefully it'll be an interesting one for you guys to check out. And yeah, if you want anything else, or there were any questions or anything, or maybe you want to find out which is a good tank to actually pick up, whether you think it's worth it, then yeah, just drop it in the comment section down below and I'll try my best to answer it. And if you see anyone else's comment that you can answer yourself, then feel free to do so, as we can try and create as best of a community as possible. But either way, I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, and I hope you've had a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video coming soon. Goodbye.